Right. What are you?
I see you.
I gotta make sure I'm all on here. Wow, boy.
I see you live on YouTube, so I'm gonna go to mute for now, but it's working now.
I see you. I gotta make sure I'm all on here. Wow, boy.
I see you live on YouTube, for
All right, we back on schedule, y'all. We man, my mind was on Marcy today, on Marcy Warrior Clan, and not Kofi Paisa TV. So I ended up going live on. Hold on, let me get my brother in here. All right, give me 1 second. Promote the panelists. Vasa, I see brother Sutek.
Yes, sir.
Are you okay? I see both of y'all now. All right, yeah, but anyway, I had my mind on Marcy and supposed to been going live from Kofi Paisa TV. Click the Marcy, so y'all excuse me. Delete that video. I'm asking you, Sean. I won't let me do it. Could you go back for me real quick and delete the video on the Mossy? When I click to go live from here, it won't let me switch the user to the next YouTube channel because I'm already live on here. I tried to do it, but it won't let me do it since I set it up. Go back on that for me, Sean, real quick, bro, if you don't mind, and do that for me, man. Y'all, we're gonna get started in just a minute. Bear with me just a second. I want to try to start on time today. Once Brother Ben said on Marcy today that this ain't Kofi Pasa TV. They start on time. So I was trying to start a few minutes early, but accidentally went live on Marcy instead of this channel. Brother Sutek and Brother Blossom, man, help me share the show real quick. Y'all give me about 3 minutes to share the show and we'll get started. Like, on Zoom, we got to actually go live on Zoom. We can't send the links out for the show until actually we go live from the YouTube channel. So please give us about 4 minutes and to share the show. And excuse me. And I'm gonna jump right on into it, y'all. Just bear with me, like I say, just bear with me for about 3 minutes. And y'all help me share the show too, real quick, man, because I want to go ahead and jump into the show. Hopefully, they appreciate the information today. We're gonna be coming from Kemet today. We're gonna be coming from Kemet today. Um, like I said, just bear with us, give us 3 minutes, and now we're gonna go in. All right. Brother, gonna help me share it real quick so we can jump into the show. Peace to everybody in the chat. I can't see who in the chat right now. I'm trying to share the show, but oh, and Sean, put the link in the session back chat for me, if you don't mind. So maybe some of our session brothers will join the panel in a little bit. But yeah, put it in the back chat for me, the session back chat for me, man. Quicker, man, we can share these to these other groups. I can go ahead and get started. Hopefully everybody has some patience. You know what I'm saying? Just a few minutes of patience. And we're gonna jump right on into the show. And again, peace to everybody in the chat that's in the chat. Like I said, I can't see who in the chat right now because I'm sharing the show and those that's already in the chat. If you don't mind, if you think somebody may appreciate this information, um, you know, share the show, please, to to those, or just share the show to different platforms that that I may enjoy. I may want to learn something. You know, yeah. All right, man. All right. Yeah. Don't share it to nobody that think they know everything. Now, don't share it to them. They ain't gonna come look at it. They already know everything. Use it all that that wants to, learn something, man. Or just brush up on something that they may have, forgotten, or just want to listen to what I got to say and what the other brothers may have to say. You know. Yeah. Give me about one more minute, and I'm gonna go ahead and go in. Yeah. Oh, this picture got my face shine. I got grease and stuff all on my head. Look at my face. Y'all had to excuse me too. My voice is a little hoarse. I don't know why. Maybe lack of sleep, stress, all that in one. I wanted to Sean go and delete. Sean, did you go and delete that? I don't know you on the panel yet, but I know you was in the chat before I sharing, man. Did you go in and delete that for me, man? So people won't go to that on the Massa when we ain't on the Massa. We on Kofi Paiside TV. We on the Black Experts. We on the channel that takes a black man, black woman, and black child Eurocentric mind and Africanize it. I'm gonna share the two more. And I'll go ahead and let it be. Let it be. All right, that's all I think I'm gonna share. We'll kick my brother to share the rest of it. Let me get back. Hold on. Get back. All right. Like I said, man, those in the chat, man, please share it to those that you may think that may appreciate this information. I'm gonna share my screen real quick. Hold on. Let me do something here. Share my screen. Share the computer sound. All right. Share. Turn that camera off. Hold on 1 second.
Is a superb and supreme creature of creation. When man becomes possessor of the knowledge of himself, he becomes master of his environment, the captain of his own ship, the director of his own destiny, the accomplisher of his own ends. Man should understand himself because man is full of knowledge, and this knowledge is a gift of nature. When Mother Nature created man, she deprived him of nothing. He was given the faculty of understanding all things around him. This faculty for understanding has not been taken away from him. None of his senses have been taken away from him. So there is no excuse for the black man.
I'm repping my team, red, black, and green. Queens and kings, salute, now scream. I shade. I shade. I'm ripping my team, red, black, and green. Queens and kings, salute, now scream. I shade. I share. 5 foot different. I share.
Man in the full knowledge of
All right, all right. Let me see something here real quick. All right. Let me know out there, y'all, before I get started. Make sure that I'm clear. You know what I'm saying? Y'all can hear me out there. Let me know if y'all can hear me. Am I good out there? Peace to Sister Juju, Sister Julanda. Peace to Brother Zane Motigo. Peace to Brother Abibo. Uh, peace to Robert Rand. Peace, 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 brother. Peace to God over there. Peace, peace. Hope I didn't miss anybody else. We got 12 watching so far. Peace to Anpu, my At Ra. All right, everybody say I'm loud and clear. I'm loud and clear. Like I said, bear with me a little bit. My voice acting like it's trying to go out, but just bear with me. The name of this presentation today, well, before I get started, I want to say dua aku, dua netcha, fatmu alafie, fatmu iwawiri, majuba iba igungun, majuba iba igungun, majuba iba ilagba, majuba iba ilagba. I always want to give honor and praises to the ancestors and everything that I do, but just always want to give honor and praises to our ancestors, because without our ancestors, we wouldn't be here. We are our ancestors. We do respect our ancestors. We do value what our ancestors has done. Also want to give honor and praises to the true and living elders out there according to African traditions. Y'all know who y'all are. Y'all know who I consider my elders in the so-called conscious social media community, which is not many according to African traditions. Also want to say Black African Power, family. I got Brother Vasa Nicolo on the panel. I got Brother Sutek Sutek on the panel. Hopefully, my brother Any Harret Sean Calfunny can join the panel, and maybe some of the, my brothers and my sisters from the Seshu by Ani Metanecha may join the panel a little bit later on. But before we get started, Brother Sutek, you got anything? And peace to Brother Philip Jackson. Peace, brother. Peace, peace, peace. That's one of my good Masonic brothers from Hattiesburg, Mississippi. Peace, brother. Peace, peace, peace. I see you in the chat.
Yeah, can you hear me, Kobe?
Yeah, go ahead.
Nah, man, I just wanted to say peace to the people. Peace to everybody that coming in. Peace to everybody that see this later. Just ready to get into this good presentation, man. I'm looking forward to it. Anpu is one of my favorite natural rooms, so
no
hopefully,
doubt.
I'm pretty sure I'm gonna learn something today, which is always good.
Yeah, no
So
doubt.
y'all like the show and share the show, man.
You got anything, Brother Voss?
Y'all know where I stand. Peace to the panel, my brothers on the panel. Peace to the audience listening now and future audience. Kofi hit them with that. As I learn, we all learn. I was waiting to hear that.
Yes, sir. Oh, it's coming. It's coming. Yeah, today, but the presentation is called Anpu, Neb dwAt. So Neb dwAt means the Lord of the Underworld, which Anpu or Impu, or what some may know as Anubis in the Greek vernacular. He has a lot of different titles. He has a lot of different roles. So we're gonna get into Anpu. In this presentation, like I said, we're gonna take you and walk you through one of the Netarus in Kemet, which you may know as Egypt as today. Okay. Oh my goodness. Hold on, y'all. All right. I always had to put a disclaimer out there before I get started. My disclaimer is I am not a teacher, but merely a student sharing information. And that information provided is for the educational purpose only. And if you are in doubt, do the research and have it verified by someone qualified. I reserve the right to change the focus of this presentation to shut down, sell, or exchange the terms or used at my own discretion. All trademark, design rights, copyrights, registered names, mottos, logos, avatars, or sigmas and marks used or cited by this website are the property of their respective owners. I reserve the right to add information as it comes available or adapt changes, improve information as it comes available in the future. Inputs, wanted changes, additions, deletions are encouraged. As I learn, we all learn. This is one of my favorite saying. This is a phrase that I have been saying for the last 2 years. I need to get this trademark copyrighted. Uh, and I've been talking about getting shirts made. Actually, I got one shirt made. Was supposed to get two other different shirts made to see which one I would go with or which one the people prefer. And I'm gonna have to get back on those other two. Like I said, I had one made. I don't want to show it yet, but I'm gonna get two more made differently. And once I get those three differently made, I just let y'all pick to see which one y'all want. Which shirt y'all prefer to wear. But like I said, this is a powerful saying to me. As I learn, we all learn. And my new slogan, let's get this culture. Because again, I understand that our culture are being attacked. And a lot of us don't even have a understanding of our culture and our traditions because they hide them in the religion and in our food system. All right, this here is uh, the name Anpu. You have the reed leaf here. You have the water ripple. You have the reed mat here. So you got Anpu, the I, the N, and the P, Anpu. This here is the Canaan or the jackal deity at the bottom, Anpu. So that's his name, Anpu. The natural Anpu usually is always represented and associated with his sacred animal par excellence. This is the dog slash jackal, usually black. In fact, the two most common forms of Anpu are the anthropomorphic forms with the head of a dog slash jackal and the zoomorphic form of a dog slash jackal. And his zoomorphic form of a dog slash jackal, Anpu usually is represented crouching upon the shrines of the tomb, and the next to him often there are the flails, the scepter, and the wajet. I Sometimes there is only one of these elements, while other times there are a combination. So you might see him with uh, the wajet eye or the scepter, or you might see him with one or the other or the flail. The close association to Anpu with the dog slash jackal is testified also by his epithets related to the animal word, as we will see in the second part of this study. For example, Iwu Iwu means dog. This is in the session of the nature. Iwu Iwu Kim, the black dog. Her in Iwu Iwu, face of the dog, and Zab, which it means jackal in the Meta Nature. In the Egyptian religion, the most important Netru associated with the Canaan and additional to Anpu are the Netru Impuet. This is his counterpart. Listen to this slide, because on the next slide, I'm going to ask a question to see if anybody was paying attention to what I was saying. But again, in the Egyptian religion, the most important Netru associated with the Canaanites is additional to Anpu or the Neteret Impuet. The female counterpart of Anpu, the Netra Wep, associated with the wolf, and the said, the Netra of the Royal Jubilee. Then there are also Dutmutep, one of the four sons of Haru, the divine soul of the Baal of the Nechem of her apocalypse, and the divine soul, which is the Baal of the west of the Amit, or the dwAt, or the netherworld. All of the Netherus are associated with the Canaans, have the close connection with the funeral rituals of the netherworld, with the Neter Usir, or Cyrus, as y'all may know, with the Nisut Biti. Now, you're not only going to see in Kemet the dog face of an individual, or this Canaan face, or this jackal face. You will see this with dwAt, which dwAt we'll get into in a few minutes. dwAt is one of the sons of Haru, and most when we talk about the four sons of Haru, we talk about the Canopy jaws, which we'll talk about a little bit in a few minutes with the slides, because I want to give you some visuals as well. Also, dwAt, and also his counterpart Anpu. We'll get into that in a minute. So here, I told y'all to pay attention. Who is this right here? This picture here. Yes, I said Egyptian religion. I don't know why, Sean, you got the question mark by that. I mean, everybody else says comedic science. It's no such thing as comedic science, just like it's no such thing as an Egyptian religion.
I'm drowning you out right now. I'm drowning you out.
But that's why I said Egyptian religion.
I'm drowning you out right now.
Come back. Okay. Okay. But you don't say nothing when they say comedic science or the commissions. You don't say nothing to them. I use Egyptian religion in the slide.
No. Remember, I am the rebellious scribe. I go at all them fake ancient African American, ancient Egyptian commissions. I ain't never heard of such. They didn't even call themselves no commissions.
That's right.
The Remech.
Where
the word commissions come from? That is some African American, New York, Harlem, 125th made up stuff.
So I'm looking in the chat. I see Anpu. Anpu Ma'atra says Anpu. My good brother Zane Motigo says the anthropomorphic form of Anpu. Julanda said, "Oh boy, don't pay us no mind, y'all. That's just me and Sean. That's just what we do." But only anybody else? I mean, we have more than 2 people watching. We have quite a few people watching. You know, I mean, we all here to learn. It's not to insult anybody's intelligence. Pay attention to. Oh, and my good brother Sutek says, "Whip wop whip." Let's see.
What are those 3 jugs? What are those 3 jugs above the deity that you're asking people about? What are those 3 jugs in that eye? Is that his name? I'm curious.
No, sir. That's not his name.
Are y'all able to zoom in so the audience can see and break it down since that got brought up?
Yeah, but I'm saying the glyph is cut out. You can actually see the depiction. You know what I'm saying? We'll show his name in a little bit. We'll show the name in a little bit. But I'm asking them, who is that? Now we had quite a few. Julanda says that's a female. Brother Mathis, peace to brother Mathis, peace, good brother. He says Anpu, his consort. My good brother Sutek, he says whip wop whip, and he also brother Sutek also says Anpu, his consort. Now Sister Julia is saying whip wop whip. I thought it was a female version. Okay, so the answer is this is whip wop whip. A lot of people see this depiction and they were always with, and I know people make the mistake because they can't read the session to see who this person is. So a lot of people will say this is Anpu, which is incorrect. This is Web Wab Web. Brother Sutek and Brother Julanda got that right. Hold on, let me get my brother Satepanra in here. He got his name raised. Okay, promote to panelists.
Hey, Kofi.
Go ahead, Sutek.
Is it any way without reading the glyphs that you can tell the difference between those 2?
Yes, they give a full description of the 2. When you see Anpu is always going to be depicted as a black jackal, and Wep Wap Wep is always going to be depicted as white and with gray hair. That's how you can tell the difference between the two without even reading the sesh. And Web is considered to be, which we'll talk a little bit more about him through the previous slides, but I wanted to throw him in there because I have seen in the past numerous of times people have said this is Anpu, which is not correct. That's why I threw up on there that slide of other uh, depictions of a jackal or a wolf or some type of Canaan in Kemet as his consort, as Web, as dwAt, and as Zeb. These are depictions that people may confuse and think that this is Anpu when it may be somebody else, but they are only doing it because they be going off of lookership. But this is Web, and we'll talk a little bit more about him before we get back into the thing, so people will kind of know, a little bit more about this Netter. All right, let's go on to the next slide. I don't know why it's so hard. Okay, all right, Netter. The Netter Web was a jackal-like funeral deity whose name means opening of the way. And by the way, those other Netters that I just named that has those same types of features are also funeral deities as well, whose name means the opener of the way. Unlike Anubis or Anpu, who was a social jackal-like, Web is shown with a gray or white head. This takes some of the considered that he have primitive been associated with a wolf. So some people may say that he's not a jackal, but a wolf. Through the 12th dynasty, Web was succeeded by the Kenti Amentu, a mummiform god as a deity of the Abydos necropolis, and then in the end by Usir, Osiris himself. Deity Web was the known deity for the 13 nome of Upper Egypt, which the Greek name Lycopolis, Wolf City. The rule of the Netter Web was to protect and lead the broken through the underworld, thus his name, the opener of the way. He also accompanies the king while hunting, and while in this capacity was addressed the one with the strong arrow, who is more severe than the gods or the Neter-Uz. Web was beside thought of as the messenger of the best of the royalty. Like Shu, he was stated to be the one who has separated the sky from the earth. So Web was a Neter or a war deity. So anytime that they went to war, or the king or the people took Web with them, or to conquer another place, Web was there. Or when they went out to hunt, Web was there. He was a war deity or a war Netter. Now we talked about, that's Web. So now when you see the depiction here, again, hold on, let's go back. Now when you see the depiction of this image, we know that this is not Anpu. We know this is Web, gray or white with gray or grayish like hair. And Web is a war Netter. Now we also talked about dwAt. dwAt was considered to be one of the 4 sons of Haru, who was the son of Usir, Osiris, or Asa. Now, and when we talk about those 4 sons, we always think about the canopy jars. We think about I think it's Ittef, dwAt, Kombesanuf, and Happy. And all of those have their own different types of depictions. And dwAt, his depiction also has the face of a jackal. And these canopy jars are jars we knew that in Kemet, we knew the Remich, they removed some of the organs out of the body. during the process of mummifying the body and preserving the body. So they will remove certain organs from the deceased body, and they will put them in these canopy jars. And the canopy jars, these says, were made to contain the embalming vessel removed from the bodies in the process of mummification. The organs was placed under the protection of the four sons of Haru, or in the Greek vernacular Horus, whose head formed and legs the jar. Happy was the baboon. So his brother Happy, you will see a depiction of the canopy jar or the nectar with the baboon face. Mseti. I said himself. It's Mseti. I stand to be corrected, which has the human face. Dut Muktef, who had again the jackal face, and Kobesanu, who has the falcon. Now, if I can remember, because it's been a while, but I think in the canopy jars, some of the organs that was in there, you had, I think with Mseti, you have the lungs that was in the canopy jar or Mseti. And Dut Muktef, you would have the stomach in that canopy jar, and the organ that you would have in Happy, I think would be no, it said it would be said it will be the liver, and the lungs will be Quebesanus. That organ will be in that canopy jar, and uh, I said the liver, the lungs, the stomach, and the intestines will be in Quebesanus. Quebesanus canopy jar. So those are the
So
four.
what a third eye at? What jar that's going in?
I don't know, brother. You might want to get with the Hindus on that one. They are African culture. We don't talk about third eye, and we don't talk about chakras, and we don't talk about crystals and stones. You, you might want to go talk to the Hindus, man, the Buddhists about
So
that.
you mean to tell me that they don't that the Remich, the Egyptians, the Commissions, they don't deal with the third eye?
Nah, they don't deal with the third eye. They don't deal with the
So
pineal
where the
glands,
brain
man.
go? What they do with the brain? You know what they do with the
Man,
brain?
pull it out.
Where they pull it out from?
What is it from through the nose?
Exactly. And
Mm,
then what they discard it.
mhm.
They
It
don't
don't
even
mean
care nothing
nothing.
about it, do they?
They don't mean nothing because
Okay.
the
The
ear
heart.
will be considered the mind.
Okay. So the heart is what you're saying when you say ear.
Yeah, ear. But we're gonna get into the heart because we're gonna get
Okay.
into the weighing of the heart. We're gonna get into some of the things that Anpu does.
Okay. Okay. So I'm just trying to I'm just trying not to get ahead, but I want to be clear.
Mm-hmm.
So what no third eye activation,
One no third eye,
crown chakra.
one no crown chakra, activating the chakras. When none of that. When none of that. Like I said, you might want to go talk to the Buddhists or the Hindus. And again, no disrespect to people that do.
No, I'm disrespecting.
Well, with me and Sean, two different people. I'm not gonna disrespect you because you wearing stones and
I'm
crystals.
gonna laugh at you.
Activating, you talking about you activating your third eye and turning your chakras or activating your chakras. I don't have a problem with those that do that.
I do. Kofi do too in secret. I'm just public.
Oh, I just don't like with the mixing and matching, but let's go on, y'all. All right, we also talked about another slide. We talked about uh inepit or impuet, which you see right here to your right. You can see the Canaan on top here. So inepit is usually described in terms no more descriptive than the female aspect of Anpu, local goddess or Neterets of Sinopolis. Although she is elusive, a goddess or Neteret, there are certainly is more to her than that. She is best known for her appearance on one of the famous Menkaperah triad statues, which this is the triad statue. This is Menkaperah. Those that may know about Menkaperah, if you go and you study Giza, and you study those three pyramids in Giza, you this is Menkaperah. Um, so she is best known for her appearance as one of the famous in Menkaperah triad statues, where she is depicted as a woman with the Sinopolis gnome emblem over her head, which you see here over her head. This emblem itself is of a couching jackal with, and I didn't put the rest of it on the slide. Given his funeral and mystery nature, Anubis or Ampu is represented mainly in the temple of millions of years. And y'all heard me talk about the millions of years when I deal with Haru, or even when I did my presentation on Ra is the most revered deity in Kemet. In the house of eternity, which I deal with that in one of those presentations as well, the house of eternity. Uh, uh, and on the coffins and the temples, representations of Anpu are more rare but not completely absent. Moreover, it is important to notice that often Impu is represented on the house of birth, the mammoths attached to the temples. In fact, one of the epithets of Anpu is he who strikes the tambourine in the house of birth. Sukkot Teneb im Hawet Kemet. So this is another one of his epithets. I gave you one at the beginning, Anpu Neb dwAt, which is the Lord of the netherworld or the underworld. And here is another one, he who strikes the tambourine. And here is the depiction of a glyph on the walls of Anpu and the tambourine. Anpu playing the tambourine. Hold on, y'all. Hey, bro, I'm gonna have to call you back. I'm live on YouTube. But yes, here is a depiction of Anpu playing the tambourine. Here. So you won't say I'm making it up. They ain't have no tambourines. Anpu won't pay. But anyway, Anpu playing the tambourine. Details from the South Chapel north wall of the temple of Hathor, or by her name in the says He Haru, and Ma'at at the West Waset / Thebes. So you can find this in the chapel, the north wall temple of He Haru. The funeral chapter of Anpu is evidenced also by the scene in which he is represented. Apart from the offering scene that are common to all the gods or the Neterus, Anpu is represented especially in the scene of the judgment in the court of Wusir, Osiris, or Sa in the afterlife, where it is always in connection with the balance. And in fact, Anpu is considered the Neter who weighs the heart, the ib, the mind. Moreover, in almost all cases, Anpu is also the Neter who leads the deceased to the hall of judgments of Wusir, Usir, Osiris, or Osiris. Anpu is also represented in those scenes related to purification rituals and funeral rites for the deceased, assimilating with the Neter or the Neter Usir, Asar, or Osiris. So a lot of times we'll also, when people think of Anpu, they think of the halls, the judgment scene. They think of the judgment scene where Anpu is leading them in the double halls of Ma'at, or Anpu is at the scales of Ma'at, where he is weighing the mind, or he is weighing the ib on the scale, where the heart has to be lighter than a feather. And we'll get more into that in a few slides here. The ancient Egyptians, or the Remich, attitudes toward death was influenced by their belief in mortality. They regarded death as a temporal interruption rather than the cessation of life. To ensure the continuance of life after death, people pay homage to the Neterus, both during and after their life on earth. When they died, they were mummified so that the soul would return to the body, giving it breath and life. Household equipment of food and drinks were placed on offering tables outside the tomb burial chambers to provide for the person's needs in the afterworld. Written funeral texts consist of spells or prayers excuse me, were also included to assist the dead on the way to the afterlife. You can see a depiction of these brothers and sisters here. To prepare the deceased for the journey to the afterworld, the opening of the mouth ceremony was performed on the mummy and the mummy case by priests. This elaborate ritual involves purification, sensing, burning incense, anointing, and incantations, as well as touching the mummy with ritual objects to restore the senses and the ability to speak, touch, smell, and hear. The opening of the mouth ceremony dates back to at least the Pyramid Age. It was originally performed status of the kings in their mortuary temples. By the 18th dynasty of the New Kingdom, it was being performed on mummies and mummy cases. Here you can see Anpu. This is the scene from the House of Eternity of the sculptures of Nakam Amen, Waset Thieves. Anpu performing the ritual of the opening of the mouth from the Nekam Amen, assimilated to Wusir to the left, and a set with the anointment vase to the right. Nebhet with the Ankh-shaped jars of libations. So here you have Nebhet here. She is pouring libations here. We know this is Nebhet because we see the basket, which represents Neb, and the house, which represents Nebhet. Okay, and we have a set here. We see the throne on top of her head here. This is a set here. And we know this is Anpu here, who is doing the opening the mouth ceremony here.
Now, who is that laying down, Kofi?
Who is that laying down? I don't know. I can't see up under the bottom of that Satep. Wouldn't the name be up under the bottom? You see the whole sarcophagus here, this whole sarcophagus here, and then it's some writing here at the bottom, unless you can tell me what the name is. And then I know I see oh yeah, where his name would be at.
Yeah, I see it.
You talking about Amenhotep name?
Yeah, it's a Shanu right there.
What is Shanu? Okay, yeah, right here. They talk about right here. Amenhotep. You got the reed lift, you got the men board, and you got the water ripple, which is a complement to the men board. The men board represents.
He threw a voice.
Yeah, let me see. Okay. Lord of the Two Lands. I see Lord of the Two Lands. Where you see True Voice at, Sean?
I'm asking.
I don't see it on here.
Under that,
I don't see my
right
Karu on here. Where? Right here?
Above, above.
Okay, yeah, right here. Okay, True Voice. Makaru. Okay.
You try to fade me. You try to fade me.
No.
Get your board to tell.
I'm just asking, but anyway, we tell because we see the reed leaf, the men board. You see the IMN, and then you see Hotep here. Hotep right here. I forgot what this called. Then you see the reed map, and then you see the bread loaf here represents the teeth. Amen, Hotep, true voice here at the bar. Here at the bottom. So that's who that is right there. Amen. I didn't even see the Shanu right here. And just breaking it down a little bit, I was a little rusty the last time. So, and I am a scribe, so I had to go back and brush up on my skills. And I ain't no shame in my game when I tell you I'm a little rusty at times, but I wasn't gonna let my brothers get me this time. I knew the transliteration on the last one, but I just couldn't get. I didn't remember.
Who the words spoken by, Kofi? Who the words spoken by? Go back. Who the words spoken by?
Okay, now point me to it, man. I'm trying to see which. Okay, right here, the Jed Meadowin. That's it.
Yeah, but who's speaking?
The Jed Meadowin, and then it has Nebhet right here. I don't know if that's supposed to be right there, but I don't know who's speaking. But this is what he's referring to: the cobra, the reed leaf, this object I forgot, and the ripple.
Is Anpu speaking?
Okay, yeah, okay, I'm retarded today, but yes, we're reading from left to right, y'all. The Jed Meadow
You mean
in
right to left?
yeah, right to left, right to left, right to left. So he's got Jed Meadow in Anpu. We see Anpu names right here, and this uh I don't know, one of the brothers on the panel may know exactly what this sign is, but I know it also represents the WINPW, the reed lift, the water ripple, the mat, the reed mat, and this symbol here will also which will represent a W, which you get input here. All right. Opening of the mouth toolkit. Instruments such as these were used to restore the senses of the deceased. They were derived from the sculpture. Tools near the end of the Greco-Roman period. The toolkit usually contained only miniature versions of the tool. So you have the satep, wood, New Kingdom from the mortuary temple of Queen Hatshepsut. Uh, then you have from the Metropolitan Museum, you have the Dez. So hold on, go back. This would be the satep. This will be the thing that you see here that Anpu or one of the priests will use in the opening of the mouth ceremony. You can see the Adez here, a depiction of the Adez painted on the walls. And then again, I mean, excuse me, the satep, I mean, then you have the Adez will be this here. And this is in the Metropolitan Museum. Bronze, wood, leather. This is from the New Kingdom, from the mortuary temple. This is also something that they got out of Hatshepsut temple. Also, this is in the Pasech Kef knife. This knife here, which they also found. Which they also found in Hatshepsut temple, number 3, right here. So these are some of the tools that are used during the opening the mouth ceremony. All right, the journey to the afterworld was considered full of danger. Traveling on the solar bark, the mummy passed through the underworld, which was inhabited by serpents armed with long knives, fire-spitting dragons, and reptiles with 5 rivetous heads. Upon arriving in the realm of the dwAt, the land of the Nether-Ooze, the deceased had to pass through 7 gates, reciting actually a magic spell at each stop. In success, they arrived at the halls of Wusir, or Osiris, the place of judgment. Now, this is one of the stories of one of their myth stories. Now, again, one of the myth stories here of what's happening to the deceased, them traveling in the dwAt, in the netherworld, as they are going to the halls of Wusir to be judged. Now, this is the judgment scene here. And you can see Anpu here. You can see Anpu here and Ammon here, the devourer. Now and you can see Jehuti here. You can see Jehuti here, the Oedipus bird. Here is Neter-U, and this is not just his only depiction as an Oedipus bird, but also Jehuti has the form of a baboon. Here in the Neter-U of the dead performed by the weighing of the heart ceremony to judge whether a person's earthly deeds were virtuous. The weighing of the heart, the Ib, was overseen by the jackal-headed Neter Anpu, and the judgment was recorded by the dwAt and the Neters of the writings. Can anybody tell me, and it don't matter on the platform, my good brothers on the platform, or some of my good people that's in the chat, on the weighing of the heart ceremony, the heart has to be lighter than a feather. And again, me and Brother Sean, we talked about when I talked about the 4 sons of Haru, and most times when we think about the 4 sons of Haru, the 4 sons was to guard the organs, those organs that the Ramish thought was important to regard, to protect those organs, and they removed those organs during the mummification, such as the liver, the lungs, the stomach, and the intestines, and they will put them in these canopy jars, and they will remove the brain through the nose and trash it because the brain was worthless to them, and the ib would ib in the sesh is the mind consciousness. So the heart being weighed lighter than the feather. So what can anybody explain like this depiction of the weighing of the heart ceremony? Anybody on the platform or anybody that's anybody that's on the panel, my good brothers on the panel, or anybody that's in the chat?
Yeah, I'll give you a short. This scene is depicted everywhere. It's even a tattoo on my brother's back. But in this scene, you're basically judging yourself. You are all of your good or bad deeds. You are actually putting them on the scale.
Mm-hmm.
This is your ancestral test. This is your, when I say ancestral test, I'm saying that, in order to become an ancestor, because really when you look at the Rodnu Peret Mheru, it is a guide of becoming an ancestor, right?
Right.
So this is your ultimate test. Right here, the judgment, the way life has been, and the way your life has been. Will you continue on your journey to becoming an ancestor, or will you your heart be swallowed, so to say, or will you get a second opportunity to rewrite your wrongs to pass?
Right.
I'm gonna leave it there.
Okay. I mean, that's a good explanation. Right there, weighing a heart ceremony, and your burdens are being weighed on a scale. You are being judged. You are judging yourself. Your deeds are being judged, and if your deeds, if your and if your burdens or your not good deeds are outweighed, is overweighed by your good deals, then your heart wouldn't be lighter than a feather. And you talk about judging yourself, you're judging yourself by your good deeds. So this is why the 42 laws of Ma'at, when we talk about the 42 laws of Ma'at, you are actually, and this is something that I used to do. I'm honest, I don't do it anymore, but at one point in time, I know back in '06, not '06, but 2016, 2015, 2016, this was something that I did every day. I would judge myself every day by reciting the 42 laws of Ma'at, and I can say that those 42 laws of Ma'at that I was reciting was actually, what I'm saying, getting me right. Because at a certain particular time in the morning, I would get up and I would recite, I have not committed an evil act against my brother. I'm just throwing some things out. I have not lied. I will not lie. I will not commit adultery. I would not commit uh I will not commit murder. And then I will come back when the sun is setting. I will come back, and those same 42 laws of my that I have recited, I will not, I will not, I will not, I will not, I will not. Now I'm going back to see if I actually went through with what I said when I recited. So if I said a lie at that particular time, then I knew this is something that I would have to go back and I would have to work on, because that day I said, that morning I said, I will not lie. And throughout the day before the sunset, I told a lie. So now I have to go back and judge myself, and then I have to go back and work on myself.
Kofi,
Work. Go ahead.
have you ever lied to yourself?
Yeah. I told myself.
No.
Sean just took what I was about to do. Did
Listen,
they have
listen. Hold on, Voss. Have you truly ever lied to yourself?
Yeah.
Think about what I'm saying. You can't lie to yourself because you know what you done already did. So are you trying to convince yourself Or you see what I'm saying? Is it more so you trying to convince yourself than understanding that you lied to yourself? Because you know when you can't fool yourself.
Can I add on to what Sean was bringing out?
Yeah.
Did they have any preventative methods for those who may not feel any shame or guilt for what they've done or see no bad in it, but still have an ideology or what we call the egotism to say what they're doing is right, to kind of go into what Sean was saying about lying, the illusion of they're doing good deeds and their heart is pure, even though their actions are something totally opposite.
Did they have not equal? You said a whole mouthful right then. Say that again now. Did they have what now with
if we're addressing the audience, just food for thought. If we give the illusion that it's self-judgment, was there any preventative methods in store in the culture to address those who are not morally sound, but still have the ideology that their heart is pure, even though their deeds are not?
hold on.
Which goes into the line to self. Because, us having a moral conscience, we probably couldn't get away with lying to ourselves. But there are some out there who don't see any wrong with stealing or killing.
I just tell you from my standpoint, I do believe, and I'm using the word believe. I do believe that it's innate in us when we know when we're doing something wrong. I think those that does that ignore the fact that they are doing something wrong. When I lie to a person, I know I lied to a person, and I know I would feel some type of worry. I know that was wrong, and I may do it again. Me knowing it's wrong, I may do it. I may rough someone up. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? And know I done rough this person up. I know what I did was wrong, especially if I just did it on the strength of something that somebody said that wasn't even true, or I didn't find out was true enough. So I'm just saying, I believe that we are innate with certain things that people don't have to tell us. We already know when we doing something. We already doing something when we wrong. Our heart is going to tell us and let us know that we doing something wrong. And those people that does those evil deeds, whatever it may do, they know they're doing wrong. We don't have to point things out to them that they doing something wrong. They know that they doing something wrong. They just ignore the fact, you know what I'm saying, what they doing is wrong or not, and continue on doing what they're doing for whatever reason. It may serve some type of monetary purpose, because I see a lot of it go on in the conscious community where a lot of misinformation and make-up information is being spewed, and they know they are lying because they're making it up. But I mean, but at the end of the day, they know they're wrong. But I mean, it's the lying is for a beneficial purpose, and that is to provide money in their pockets, or provide some type of sustain for them and their family.
I kind of like how that kind of branched out. So what you just said is that guilt you would feel is what they're trying to represent as far as being light as that feather. That guilt you carry, you would know by not having that guilt inside you.
Mm-hmm.
Just to simplify it for those, because my kids are listening.
Okay.
So you get where I'm going. So for those who might get lost in the symbology or think, it's something that takes place after life and your heart is going to be physically weighed out to a feather, and then they create confusion of how can my heart be lighter than the feather? A feather is, extremely light. So how could I ever balance myself out to that and create discouragement? So I kind of like how that goes. It's you have to read into the culture as we're being taught.
Right.
I kind of like how that kind of just took place.
So it's more like a metaphor for like your guilty conscience, correct?
Right.
Okay, yeah. So I just wanted to make that clear.
And it kind of deal with like psychology as well. Basically, what we talking about is the id, the ego, and the super ego. You know, your super ego is the one that puts everything in check. Your id is the animalistic instincts when you're doing things you know you shouldn't be doing, but you just can't control it. And your ego brings things into perspective, but your super ego puts everything in check. If y'all understand what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
The super ego is the one that's telling you, you know, you did wrong. You need to make it right. You feel me?
Right.
Yeah.
That,
So go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. I didn't mean to stop you.
No, I was just gonna say, like, cause you know the rematch. Like, if you deal with psychology, and Saber say this all the time, a lot of the rematch values and understanding is based on psychology. If you study psychology,
Mm-hmm.
so I just want to just put that out there.
You deal with psychology too, don't you? Didn't you take psychology in school, Brother Satel?
Yeah, I did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
I'm the
Here's
dumbest
another
member. I'm the
judgment
dumbest
scene
member of the
here. The
session.
judgment halls of Usir in the Netherworld and the scene. What? Why you? What? Huh?
I was letting the audience
Say
know
what?
that I was letting the audience know that I'm the dumbest member of the session.
Wow. What you?
I live by Unc's motto: if you're the smartest person in the room, get out of the room.
The judgment house of Usir in the Netherworld and the scene of weighing of the heart from the book of coming forth by day of Unefa, the royal scribe of King Seti the first, the estate over the king and the overseer of the cattle of the lords and the two lands. This is now in the British Museum, but this here is another scene. Here is Anpu, here the heart and the feather here. Anpu here guiding Nefer into the halls of Usir. Here was another scene here. This is weighing of the hearts from the book coming forth by day, the royal scribe of Ani, 1275 BCE. This is now in the British Museum as well. All right. 42 Netherets list to confession of the deceased who claim to be innocent of a crime against divine and human social order. Hold on, I see brother. I see Saber. Saber Longwind. Hold on, raised his hand. Let me get Saber in here. All right. Hold on, y'all. All right. Oh, you with us, brother Saber? Wu Jawa. Brother Saber. Brother teacher Wu Jawa.
Hotel Peace, can you hear me?
Yeah, hotel.
Oh, okay, Hotel. Yeah, I'm just listening in. I just listened in. I just tuned in. I didn't know you were live. I'm just popping in.
Okay.
This is my kind of show. I think. I don't know yet.
Oh yeah, it's been a. I wish you would have been here to the beginning, man. It's really been a good show, and everybody been participating, and we've been going over a few league glyphs, and so it's been pretty good.
Okay. Well, I'm just gonna listen, and
all right.
Yeah.
The 42 Netherets listed to the confession of the deceased who claims to be innocent of crimes against the divine and the human social order. The person was, hold on, okay. The person's heart was then placed on a scale, counterbalanced by the feather, and represented Ma'at and the goddess of truth and justice. If the heart was equal of weight to the feather, the person was justified and achieved immortality. If not, it was devoured by the goddess or the Neteret Ammon. This deceased, this meant that the person would now survive in the afterlife. When the Nasut Bidi passed the test, he became one of the Netchers, Usir. He then traveled through the underworld of the solar bark, accompanied by the Netheret, to reach paradise and obtain everlasting life. Now, this slide I really didn't even have to read, but I'm kind of glad Saber Wujao come on because he could elaborate a little bit as well. We already say, but we already kind of talked about. Uh, I gave a few scenes of Anpu and the weighing of the heart, and we kind of talked about the weighing of the heart being uh, uh, lighter than the feather of the heart being the ear of the mind, them removing the brain, um, the different organs that went into the canopic jar, um, the psychology behind it all, and now at the end where it talks about where when the Nasubidi is passed the test, he becomes one of the netures of Usir. Now, can you explain, kind of go into that a little bit, Saber Wujao, where they become Usir or Osiris or Sa?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you loud and clear.
Okay. Well, you are a Usir when you're judging, because what happens in the judgment scene, the composition that makes you who you are is broken down into its separate, isolated elements, and all the elements are interacting and interfacing and engaging with one another. So there's a part of you that is Usir. There's a part of you that is Heru. There's a part of you that is Anpu. There's a part of you. So all of these different things are you, and they're interacting, interfacing with one another. And so the Usir part of you is the part of you that you cannot lie to, because a person cannot, lie to themselves or try to pull one on themselves. It's impossible. So the ultimate you makes that determination. And so all the different parts of you are bringing up and testifying before the Usir part of you, for lack of better explanation. And so when that happens, you're in a constant state of judgment. And the scale, I'm sure you probably mentioned that the whole scene is like figurative. It's nothing.
Yeah, we
Hopefully
talked
nobody.
about. Yeah.
Okay. Hopefully nobody thinks anything is literal in that scene. So when you judge something, you weigh it. Like weighing something and judgment is synonymous. And we do it today. It's like, can you weigh in? Can you weigh in on this discussion? You want to give your input and discernment on something. So you're constantly weighing at all times. It's just that at certain times, the real you, or the Usir part of you, feels guilt, and that's represented by the beast, Amamet. And so the guilt is what devours, because the word Amamet is the feminine form of the word Amet or Amam, which means to eat. So that guilt eats at you in your psychology. So it's all about psychology. So it's going to eat at your mind, and we call it guilt today. So the only way that you can feel guilt is if there is some set of morals or laws that are already programmed into you. Because if you wouldn't feel guilty if there's not something that you feel yourself has violated or left, veered off the mark. So a lot of people talk about where the laws of Ma'at come from and who wrote them and stuff like that. These things are built in. They're inert. They're
Yes.
built in.
I just we were doing before you jumped in. I was just explaining that. Just explaining that when Vasa asked the question, and I just saying exactly what you're saying. Go ahead.
Okay, well, yeah. If you already said it, because I don't want to.
No, go ahead.
But
you
yeah,
explain,
but
you sound so better. But go ahead.
No, but so Usir, so becoming Usir is not in the sense that people may think that, okay, you actually transform from something into Usir. There's a part of you that is Usir at all times, and Usir is the god of the dwAt, which is the underworld. And psychologically, if we were to overlay a psychological paradigm, the underworld will represent your subconscious things that take place that behind your back. And so the example I always give for people who don't think that that's real, or that that's a bunch of craziness, is just look at digestion. When you eat your food every day, there's a lot that goes into your meal that you consciously do. You cook your food, you choose your food, you fix your plate, you know, you warm it up, you heat it up, and then you put the food in your mouth, you chew it, you swallow it. But once that food is swallowed, everything else that transpires after that is part of you, but you have no control over. So the whole digestive process, the extraction of nutrients, the enzymes, the amino acids, all those kind of things is being extracted inside of your small intestines, your stomach, all those activities that take place in your own physical body, you are completely unaware of it and have no control over it consciously. So the subconscious or the autopilot part of you is very, very, very powerful. And that is governed by the deity Usir. So Usir is the powerful part of you that you're not going to get around and not going to fool. So you don't transform into Usir or whatever. It's just that part of you, you just become aware of it. Your conscious part of you starts to focus in that area of you. That's what I mean by all these different things interacting with each other. It's the focal point of conscious, of your awake or awareness. Because that's all consciousness means, or conscious means, is to be aware. So once you become aware, then you feel guilty. If you do something wrong and you're completely like for example, if you walk past a crowded area and you step on somebody's foot and you don't feel it, you're completely oblivious to stepping on somebody's foot, but their foot is sore and you stepped on it and it really puts them in pain. You have no idea that you did that. Therefore, you will never feel guilty about it. You won't even apologize or anything because you are completely unconscious of it. But the moment you become conscious of it, somebody scream, "Ow, you stepped on my foot." The first thing out your mouth is, "Oh, I'm sorry." So the moment that you become conscious of it is when you do the corrective action. And that's the Usir part of you. So hopefully without going, all into it, that's just what how I explain it sometimes.
Good explanation. Good one. All right. We'll move on. All right. One of the statues of the Nectar Anpu in his form is a sacred jackal crouching upon the shrine, flanking the north possession of the wall. This is also from the temple of 1,000,000 years of King Ramses I. We talked about the two forms, the form, anthropomorphic form and the zoomorphic form, the form of a jackal and the form of a man with a jackal head. Here's another depiction of Anpu. Here, Anpu wearing a necklace and the protection of the red ribbon. You will see this a lot in some of the depictions of him with this necklace and this protective red ribbon around the neck, crouching upon the tomb. Red door, the right, the flail details from the house of eternity of Queen Nefertiti. Like I said, you will see a depiction of him with the scepter, the flail, or the Wajet eye. Here is another depiction. Here, the scribe Tai kneeling and making admirations to Anpu, crouching upon the tomb, and the front of Anpu or Anubis, Nimset, the vase with the lotus flower to the left, and the Wujat eye, which I talked about earlier. You will see the flail, the scepter, or the eye. Translate of the inscription: Anpu is upon his mountain, Lord of Necropolis, great God, a great nature, Lord of Rosata, the netherworld, giving praise to the Ka of the vital spirit of Anpu, Lord of the Abama, the foremost of the gods, or the Neters, Usir, tent, Lord of the land. Somebody open their mic. All right. But yeah, this is just another depiction here on the walls. Here's another depiction. This is in detail from the outer coffin of Hintawi, the lady of the house of the Chantress of
Coach,
Amun Ra. Go ahead.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but can you go back to the last image
Yeah.
for the audience? Is that the pineal gland, the third eye? No, can you? I just want some clarity.
We still talking about the third eye, man.
Hey man, we have people who, I just want some clarity.
That's not that we. This again. That is dealing with African culture. There is no third eye. There is no chakras. There is no yoga. There is no. It's that's again that's Hindu culture. I mean, again, I have no problem with people that talk about the third eye and chakras and stones and crystals and turning the chakras and yoga poses. Again, that has nothing to do with African culture. For more information about that, they may want to talk to someone who actually practice Hinduism or Buddhism, to get some more understanding on that. Just not mix and match the two. But again, again, this is just details, and I'm about through with the presentation. Now we're going into some more of the depictions of Anpu. Again, this is from the coffin of Henet Tawi, the lady of the house of Santris of Amun Ra. This is also now in the Metropolitan Museum, and you can see Anpu here with the double crown on his head and the flails and the wujat. And I know I'm tearing the name of wujat I here at the back. Here is another depiction of Anpu. Here, this is architecture sculpture from the funeral temple. Norfolk, the first head of the priests of the Netra Usir at Abydos. You can see Anpu here. You can also see at the bottom here, you can see He Haru at the bottom of Anpu. Here is another depiction of Anpu enthroned in front of the altar with various offerings from the chapel of Anpu in the temple of Million Years. This is from Hatshepsut. Here is another for Anpu enthroned wearing the double crown. And you can see here, to go back, Anpu in the depiction of wearing a double crown here on the coffin of Henet Tawi. But yeah, Anpu enthroned wearing a double crown, holding the Ankh and the right and the Wuset scepter in the left from the north chapel, north wall of the temple of Heharu and the Ma'at at the west Wuset Thebes. Here is two statues of Anpu enthroned here. Excuse me. I see Anpu in the middle here. These are bronze statues here. Here is another detail from the house of birth sanctuary of He Haru. Deodora, this is Anpu actually dragging a circular object. This is not Khnum. This is Anpu. Here is Anpu according to the interpretations. Instead is the priest with the mask of Anpu from the portico temples of Aset at Pompeii, now in the Archaeological Museum at Naples. And this is Wet Anpu. Wet Anpu means the priest of Anpu. Here, as we talk about them wearing a mask, ritual mask depicted as a black jackal head Netra Anpu. This is one of the few ritual masks of Anpu preserved until the present age. The cornice courses linen mud plaster mixed with straws from the Wuset Thieves, now in the Haragat museums and art. So here is one of the masks, the Anpu mask. Here is
Kofi,
go ahead.
don't they wear masks in the rituals and festivals of West Africa also?
Yes, they do. And a lot of their festivals and a lot of their ceremonies, masks are incorporated in the ceremonies and in their rituals.
Yeah, I just wanted to make a connection between East Africa and West Africa and show that this is all African culture.
Mm-hmm. King Seti the first offering incense to Anpu sings from the east wall of the halls of mysteries of the Osiris complex, the great temple this is here from the Seti the first temple in Abydos. You see Seti is making an offering or incense, offering of incense here to Anpu. Here's another depiction of King Ramesses III also offering incense, offering of incense to Anpu. Here, this is from the temple of a million years. This is from King Ramesses III. Here is another depiction here. You have Anpu here. This is from the coffin of Amenemhotep, the priest of the nature of Amen. This is also at Woset Thebes, 950 to 950 BC. It is also in the British Museum, but this is an image here of the nature Anpu standing on top of the house of eternity. Next to the altar and purifying blessings are Amenemhotep mummy form in the middle of the circumceptor on top of the solar orb with the two Urias. Here's another depiction of Wusir who presided over Amenemhotep, the great nature Haru. Ain't that right, y'all? Brother Saber, Amenti only means west, right? The great nature of Haru and the Menti and Anpu, each enthroned from the house of eternity of the great Nefertiti. This is in the Valley of the Queens. So you have Wusir, you have Haru, and you have Anpu right here. So here you have details from the temple of King Ramesses. This is Abydos, and that is a typo. I got Metcher, or to be Netcher, Anpu on the left. So here is a depiction of Anpu here in a human form. I know we see him as in the Canaan form, the pure Canaan form, a jackal form, and we see him as a human being with a jackal head. But here is a depiction here of Anpu here in a human form. And you can see the name here, Anpu here. Excuse me. Here's some of the epithets. Again, I told you earlier on, and what's his name? He had Anpu had many roles. He had many roles and he had many epithets. I didn't put all the roles on here, and I didn't put all the epithets on here, but he had a lot of epithets. And again, the name of the presentation was Anpu Neb dwAt, Lord of the Netherworld. And then I gave you another one when I showed you a depiction of Anpu, he who plays the tambourine. So I actually showed you a picture of Anpu on the wall playing a tambourine. So here is some of the more, here you got Emmet Wet in front of the embalming booth. Emmet Wet Neb Ta Desire, Her Ib Desert root in front of the embalming booth. He on the mountain, Lord of Necropolis, chief of the halls of the Netra'uz, Emi Wet Connect She Netter, which you see that on another depiction I had with the nature sign and looked like a house, the nature sign in the middle of the house. In front of the embalming booth in the nature halls. Ink Tab Tau F Her Tep Set Neb Abdu, and excuse me for not sounding like Saber Wujao or sounding like Sinet Emi Cat. When they flow so well when they do it. I am the who upon the mountains, upon the Acropolis of Abydos. Anpu Hini, Anpu, guardian of the river of fire. Go ahead. Somebody was saying something. Anpu Hinu, Anpu, guardian of the river of fire. Anpu, Harry M. Pet Ta dwAt, Anpu, governor of heaven, earth, and the underworld. Anpu Harry Sachet E Menet Anpu, overseer of the secret west. Anpu im what F. Anpu is his place of embalming. Ipi Ibu, container of the heart. Some of the roles: master embalmer, inventor of embalmer, chief physician, watcher, guardian of the dead, master of the scales in the halls of the Amenti, messenger of the Netra'uz, nature of the twilights of dawn, tribunal of Wusir, personification of the summer solstice, which will be Whip Wop Whip. I don't know why I put that one on there, but that's Whip Wop Web. But these are some of the roles. Like I said, there were many roles and epithets of Anpu. That is all I have on this presentation. Hope you all enjoyed the presentation. I hope y'all learned some things when you look at Anpu, or you look at you now you know when you look at Whip Wop Web, you know that Whip Wop Web and Anpu is not the same thing. The depiction of Whip Wop Web will be white, and he would be considered as a wolf. Some say a wolf and not a jackal. White with white or grayish hair. Uh, Also, if you see a jackal form, it may be of Dua Muttef. It may be of his consort, Anupet, said, and so forth. Um, and well, that's it. That's it. Anybody got anything? Anybody got any questions in the chat? I think this was a good presentation because we are, everybody was involved. The people on the panel, the people uh, in the chat was also involved, and that was my whole purpose, was putting the presentation together where we all can learn, we all can contribute, to the presentation.
Did everybody get an opening of the mouth ceremony? Or was that for the royals or high prestige? Or did you have to earn an opening of the mouth ceremony?
I know, Saber, you probably can speak a little bit more on that, but I know at one time it was for the prestige with the opening of the mouth ceremony.
And I was more or less asking for the audience.
Oh,
if they get to that part.
Saber must have dropped out. Saber Wuja, you still on here?
Yeah, I'm here. I have myself. I think I have myself muted. I'm here.
Oh.
Yeah, that was good. Good presentation and information. Hopefully, everybody have takeaways from it. Hopefully, everybody got a to-go box and got something for later.
Yeah, and we was talking about I had went through, I don't know if you've seen it. I was talking about the prior to we getting up to the scenes of the weighing of the heart. I kind of showed some of the instruments.
Yeah, can you go back to that slide?
Yeah, instruments of the opening of the mouth ceremony, actual depiction on the wall of Anpu with the satep, with the opening of the mouth ceremony. I kind of explained it. We kind of discussed that as well. But he was asking, and I know at one particular time it was for, you could say, for the royal or the upper echelons at this particular time that could, that did this ceremony. Because you kind of go in a little bit further, but this is what I had. Well, actually, I showed this depiction before we kind of went into discussion of Anpu with a set and Nebhet with the opening of the mouth ceremony. And then I kind of went into discussing some of the tools that was used during the opening of the mouth ceremony and some of the symbolism behind the opening of the mouth ceremony.
Okay. Yeah, that's kind of hard to talk about on a quick presentation. That's like a whole thing, because a dead body doesn't have any need to open their mouth, literally, or opening of the eyes or any of that stuff. So it represents something else, and that's a long thing to talk. Like, you know, you got to connect pieces, and that's I just find I see people talk about it, but they don't do it justice because it's not something that you can compartmentalize in a discussion. So that, like, people who really get into it and study it, they really don't talk about it unless you're in a appropriate setting to go through it, you know, because there's a lot involved with that. Like the ads, people call them satep. That's the ads that represents the word satep, which means chosen, but it's the ad instrument, and it's shaped like the formation of a star formation of a constellation, and it connects into what they would call people turning into an ak, which is an effective one, and it gets into what we call today the capacity to do work, which is the definition of energy. And so it gets into something real interesting and long. So, you know, I normally don't really build on that unless people got, like, you know, a week. If people want to talk about it for a week, then we can do that. But it's a lot of things involved with that. You got the hind part of the offering of a leg that represents constellation, similar to the ads symbol. And why is the mouth being opened? You know, when a deceased person doesn't even have air to push through the lungs, through the larynx to talk. So these are things that people have to understand. It's not literal, but it's a lot of explanation behind it of why that became a ritual in and of itself. You know, and for what? Like, what does it do? Like, really, what does it do? So just an example, because I don't get into the ads, but like Anpu, why is it that like the kind of questions that people should as people piece things together, they should form more and more questions. Like the more you find out, the more questions you should have. And so why is Anpu and Usir always paired together in the offering formulas? Like he says, Hotep Dinasu with Sir Nebjadu, but it also be Anpu. Why are those two kind of paired together? Why is Anpu Neb dwAt, or a lord of the underworld, and also Usir is God or lord of the underworld? Foremost of the Westerners, whereas Anpu is the foremost, or he who sits upon his mound, which is the top of the entrance to the West. You see, so these kind of questions that people should come about and ask and try to, you know, that will kind of guide their questions and seek answers to that. Because, you know, there's some realities behind the symbolism. You know, we understand it's myth, but there's realities behind myth. And so, you know, yeah, it's interesting. Earlier I said that Usir is a part of, you know, a part of us, a part of you, and it's the part that judge you. But now let me ask you this, or anybody on the panel. Anpu is a canine headed figure. So does anybody know what the word for canine is in Rodney Kimmett?
I already gave it. I gave you a hold on. I'm gonna go back to the slide.
Okay, yeah, I came in late, so yeah, you probably already.
Yeah, I cover. Hold on, let me see if I can find it. Oh, I'm going back. I mean, I'm going forward. Hold on, give me just a second. Go to. Yeah, I kind of covered a lot of stuff with Anpu.
Okay, yeah, you probably already hit it then. Shoot, I'm.
Okay, here I gave. You see the slide, Sable?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Okay, so yeah, you gave it. So the last word there, sab, is the word for canine or jackal. But there's also a word that sounds alike. That means judge, to discern, and that's what dogs or canines do. They discern by their senses. And so this is a sensory part of you that is the input mechanism on how we acquire knowledge. So remember what I said, that to be conscious of something is to be aware of it. to be knowledgeable of something. If you step on somebody's foot and you are completely unaware of doing it, you're not going to apologize. You're not going to feel guilty because you have no knowledge of it. But the Anpu part of you, that is the input or sensory part of you, the input part of you, becomes aware and makes contact with it. Now you know. So it represents belief and knowledge. And so it pairs up with Usir, because Usir is the ultimate judge, the ultimate you, that you can't lie to yourself. Once you know something, that's why the saying comes, when you know better, you can do better. That's the Anpu and Usir part of you interacting with each other. So just wanted to put that out there. And like I said, the wearing of the mask and the Sin priest wearing the mask of Anpu, reenacting the opening of the mouth ceremonies and things like that is a long thing to talk about.
All right. And that kind of answered brother Nasir question as well, as I see Sutek put some more information in the chat about Anpu. So that kind of answered his question. He was the only person that I had. And Sister Julia wanted to know what was the name of the female counterpart again. I'll go back to the slide for you. Sister Juju, that's no problem. It is Anpuet. Anpuet. INPWT. The new pet.
Did the Greeks take the female counterpart, or did they only stick to the male?
Say that again. Did the Greek do what now?
You know, most common name at the moment when we start talking about Anpu would be Anubis. Did they take the female deity as well, or did they only take Anpu?
I don't know, because I started to put some of their depictions.
I know they mixed them with Hermes at
yeah, they
one
mixed
point.
them with Hermes, and I started to put a lot of the Hermes, and it was a few other ones, Hermes, Trismegistus, and it was another one. But they have a lot of. I didn't see anything with the female. I didn't see anything with the counterpart. I only seen. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna go to it real quick and show y'all.
And y'all have to forgive me. I'm just thinking, you know, if a beginner was to come to this, what kind of questions they may have. So I'm trying to think of just simple questions that they may have in mind, or those that might be afraid to even voice that question.
Yeah, you good. I'm finna go to, because I started to actually add that in with that, because I didn't see a female part. Hold on, let me make sure I ain't went past it. I got so much stuff on here. Hold on, because I wanted to show, because I started to add that on here. Trying to remember where did I get it off of? Which article? Hold on, cannabis. Hold on, I'll find. Let me go to one of my sources, real quick. Hold on, I can show y'all. Hold on, let's see. I hold on. Let me go into my Adobe Reader. And that's a good question, because I definitely didn't see that. Hold on, let me go into this book, this PDF book. Hold on, fill up. Am I still sharing my screen, or I done went off of it? I don't think I'm still sharing. Am I still sharing my screen?
I see your name from the YouTube side.
Okay,
I don't think you're sharing your screen no more.
Okay, hold on. I'll go back. This stuff here makes me, every time I go, okay. All right, let me go in. Let me go back. Share my screen again. Can y'all see my screen?
Yeah,
I'm on my phone. I can see it.
Okay. All right. Now hold on. Let me see if I can find some more. But hold on. Let me go. That was damn it. And it might have started right there with that. Let's see. Let me see. Well, here go one though. Maybe I know some more on here. Hold on. Here go one. Here Vasa. Her Hermes. Her animals. Dog / jackal head. This here. Let me see if I can. Bring it down the size down some. Okay. Can y'all see that?
yeah.
Yeah, this here is this is a marble statue of God, the God dang man. Okay, God her animus. This is Hermes / animus. This is from the 2nd century here. He looked more like a regular dog on this one here. Let me see if I can find another one. Here is another one.
You said 2nd century?
Yeah.
CE. So this is
Yeah.
after Christ.
I
Right?
don't use. I
Well,
guess I don't use that terminology, but yeah.
I'm just saying, you know, to I'm trying to put my Sean hat on at the moment.
Yeah. As you can see another one here. This is from the funeral altar here. This is in Italy. This is Hermes Anubis here. Hermes and Anubis here. Holding some type of concordance. I don't know what that is. Some type of palm branch or something here. This is in Italy. This is 110 through 120 CE here.
Caduceus. Let me I just want to say something. That, you know, who is the Roman counterpart to Hermes? Does anybody know?
I sure don't know. Hermes thrice.
And it Jehudi?
No, he
the
said
Roman,
the counterpart.
The
he said
the Roman counterpart to.
Oh, the Roman counterpart. I can't think of the name.
Mercury.
That's
okay, right. I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
I was going to say Aries.
Oh, Hades.
Aries.
Oh, Aries.
Yeah.
Well, somebody can double check that.
Aries is Greek.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
But somebody verify that the Roman counterpart of Hermes. But the only reason why I say that is because there's a merge or synergy that the Greeks did with Hermes and Anpu because of the realities that they represent. So Jehudi would be Hermes, and Anpu would be they associate Anpu with Hermes because of what they actually represent. So remember when I said that the jackal is under the domain of discernment, the input, how we acquire knowledge, because you only know something based on your inputs. You know, our 5 senses, that's how we aware of the outside world. And so Jehudi represents the divine wisdom without input. So Jehudi, in other words, to kind of summarize, Jehudi will represent knowledge without input, and Anpu will represent knowledge with input. And today we call knowledge without any input. People like to call that intuition, when you intuit something. And so the Greeks combine 2 different forms of acquiring knowledge together into one. So you have Herm and Anubis, because both of these deal with form of knowledge. One is by direct contact, and the other one is through filters that we call input devices. So Anpu would represent beliefs, your affirmations, your knowledge that's acquired through syllogistic logic and so on and so forth. And Jehudi will represent the direct awareness of things and the ultimate conflict resolutionist. And that's why Jehudi is always solves problems and solves conflicts inside the myth. Whereas Anpu is the one who stands at the opening of the path that they call, where you get confused with, people get confused with dwAt, the opener of this trail or this pathway.
Yeah, open other way. Mm-hmm.
So that's why they do that. So just so people can understand. So yeah, Juju said Mercury.
Yeah,
it's Mercury. It's Mercury.
Mercury.
I don't
right.
see.
And
I
understand.
don't. I was going to say I don't see a counterpart. I'm reading from the Dictionary of Ancient Deities. It doesn't say a counterpart, but it said Hermes was the lover of Penelope Hersey, Herse, and there's another name I can't pronounce it, Deianeira. But then it goes into making comparisons of previous deities that they compare him to. One of the names being Sebek, Mercury, Sebku. But as far as a counterpart, I don't necessarily see one.
When in the wiki Mercury article, it says that he is the guardian of souls to the underworld. So I guess that's how.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Right. It's the messenger, because Anpu is the ultimate messenger, because it's by way of the input devices of the human being that we receive messages from the outside world into the subconscious or the inner world.
Right.
Through your senses and stuff. So, and Mercury being the messenger of the gods operates in the same fashion. That's why the planet closest to the most powerful god in the solar system, the sun, that's the closest planet to the sun, and so on. It travels the fastest and all that good stuff. That's where they get all that stuff from, and how it kind of ties in.
Yeah. Was I supposed to be looking up Hermes or Mercury?
No, Mercury. I was asking.
Okay. I was looking at Hermes. I can pull up Mercury. I'll go back to mute till then, though.
I think I think somebody just said it.
Yeah, she said it was Mercury, and yeah, that was one of his epithets. I mean, that was one of his roles. I showed on the thing, a messenger. You know, that was kind of good how you just put that together, because I was wondering why they were saying he was a netter. He was a net. The mess. I mean, the net. What? Okay, let me see what it said down here. Said,
and the Greek. See, in Rome it was Mercury. In Greece it was Hermes. Hermes and Mercury are equivalents or counterparts. I shouldn't say counterpart, because that's like opposite, but they're equivalents or parallels to each other. Hermes and Mercury.
okay.
So the combination with Anpu, it makes sense. Later on, that was their understanding, because that's what Anpu represents, the messenger. The ultimate messenger.
Yeah, that was my first time when I was doing some more research on Anpu. When I was putting it together, I know I always seen Hermes or Hermes Trismegistus, Hermes thrice the great, referred to as him being Jehudi. That was my first time seeing Anpu. You know, I looked at it again. I said, okay, Anpu. And then when I went and looked back in his book that I had, I remember seeing some of these pictures where they had Hermes and Anpu merged together. And I had started to put some of these pictures in the presentation too, show you how the Greeks and the Romans took it on and merged the two. But I wouldn't be able to explain it the way you just explained it, why they merged both of the two, and Jehudi and Anpu being the same. How you see? I can't. I see how you. I mean, how you put it together. I wouldn't be able to put it together like you put it together. But
yeah, if people just remember that there's two forms of knowledge, and and then later traditions created a third form of knowledge. And one form of knowledge is direct contact. Today we call it intuition. Then the other form of knowledge is through our input devices called our senses. We count 5: see, touch, taste, hear, smell. And then there's a third form of knowledge, which is through revelation, which causes for mediaries and spook gods, where gods talk to people, and that's through revelation. And that was created as a third form of knowledge, and all of that would be under the umbrella of epistemology. So this is what people have to understand, that that's what these things are coming out of. And when people understand the stories and then look at the realities behind these figurative expressions, then people can really start to execute or eliminate what doesn't make sense, or whatever the case is. But Hermes, Anpu, and Jehudi have a interesting connection with each other in the realities in which they represent. Jehudi represents direct knowledge, and we call it divine wisdom. We call that wisdom. Anpu represents syllogistic logic and linear discernment and science, how to acquire knowledge and stuff through the input devices and stuff like that. And then you got the Greek counterpart names for them: Mercury, Hermes Trice, Megistix, or whatever, and all that stuff. So there you have it. And it only represents the other, one side of it, of that input device. The other is a feminine, and I don't think y'all mentioned it, so I won't mention that. So
what we ain't mentioned what now?
No, there's a whole nother side to that input, or Anpu. That's not the female form of Anpu, but a whole nother deity that governs the other side of the input device that is prevalent in African traditions, outside of the revelation side that was created later.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I was showing this. Hold on, let me go back to. Let's see where to go back to what I was on. All right. Let's see.
While Kofi's doing that,
go back to.
Was you going to start to talking, Kofi? I was just going to tell the audience about this book.
Yeah, go ahead.
It's I put it in the chat. It's a simple read, but for those who are interested in things like this, it's a cool resource book to have. The Dictionary of Ancient Deities, Oxford Press put it out. And it even gives you the comparison of certain deities. So it is very nice to have and real useful. But it's only going to be for just quick resource. It's not going to go in depth. I'm giving you that pre-warning now, but it's cool to have in case you get introduced to someone new in your studies. I'll go back to you.
You got the hard copy or the PDF?
Yeah, you know me. I only do hard copies.
Yeah, I got it up on the shelf over there too. Yeah, is my screen still sharing? Did it go back to my slides?
Yeah, you sharing.
Yeah, I just wanted again, they was asking the counterpart, and then Saber had mentioned another aspect, but we had went into a Nupwet, if I'm pronouncing, or Nupet, the counterpart to an Anpu, and then I know they was asking about I know Brother Mathis, he said Wawet when she was asking again what was the name. So I was just throwing this picture back up here to ask them again, who was this person here? Y'all remember who this person was? I'm asking the people in the chat again. So next time when y'all see this picture, y'all will know exactly who this is. And again, it's cut off. I don't have his name at the top. Juliana said, that's not Anpu. I had threw this up here earlier, Saber, in the beginning of the presentation. After I went through a slide just talking about the depictions of the, you will see this Canaan figure not only with Anpu, but you will see it with other nectars, Wapwep and one of her root four sons, dwAt Mutev, another nectar Zed, and even his counterpart, Nupit. Somebody just got it, Whip Wop Web, Juliana. Yep. So now when y'all see it, y'all know there's Whip Wop Web. And Saber, he was a war deity, wasn't he, Saber?
Yeah, he had an aspect of governing war
Mm-hmm.
because of what it means. People had to understand that wep is to open and wawet is pathways. So when you go to war, you want your ways to be open so that you could be victorious.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Well, that's all I got, family, man. I hope y'all appreciate the presentation. I appreciate y'all tuning in. I appreciate y'all participating. You know what I'm saying? I hope somebody learned something that they didn't know yesterday. That's what these presentations about, us learning together, us participating together. Um, so yeah, that's all I got. If anybody else on the on the panel got anything, man, before I end the show.
Now that's a good build. I didn't catch the beginning, but just tuned in. I haven't been tuning in lately. Been kind of MIA. I'm anticipating the I kind of mentioned this before. Some of y'all have heard me mention this, but I'm anticipating the conversations where people are mature enough to really, really objectively analyze, the things that we have gotten into after leaving the Abrahamic traditions. So the ATRs and ASTs, African traditional religions and African spiritual systems or spiritual traditions, can be discussed the same way we kind of discussed the Abrahamic ones, and how we scrutinize the Bible, or how people scrutinize the Bible and ask, good questions about that. We don't see that taking place as much when it comes to African traditions and things. But it's inevitable, and I think that mature people who can handle it needs to kick that off and get get those kind of conversations going, so that we can really, really move forward.
Well, why you won't do it, Sabo? You know why? I think you probably would be the man to, be able to pull that off and get everybody together. Those, like you say, that are of mature mind, they're willing to have the discussion.
Oh well, I've been edging it. I've been edging it on for the last year, really. If you look at my couple of my Facebook posts over the last year, I would bring up these topics to kind of fill out the level of maturity. I got a mature level meter, where I kind of judge people's ability to have these discussions. And some people are not ready. I'll mention something and people will go off on tangents or even be offended, and have a wrong idea. People still into this colorism, this white man's this or versus black man's that and stuff, and not really look at it objectively. So, I've been kind of bringing it into the conversations every now and then, with spirit, what is spirit made of? How can you differentiate spirits? Like just a quick example that I gave recently. People can tell you and I apart from each other because we look different. We there's a lot of things that they can use to differentiate me from you. But when it comes to spirits, what is that discerning factor? How can a person tell the difference between spirit A and spirit B if they don't have a body, if they don't have any material existence? What is it exactly? And when people venerate a spirit that they call an ancestor, or they leave an offering for that ancestor, how do they know that that ancestor gets it and not another ancestor will get it in its place? You know, how do they know that? And what are the ways and mechanisms to do that? And then what business does a spirit have with anything material if spirit itself is not material? How can it possibly benefit from that? Those, you know, those kind of things. I'm not saying that there's no answers for these things or no explanations, but those are the kind of conversations that people need and should engage in, because and this is the reason why, is because science is a form of knowledge gathering, and in our world today, it is the best that we have. But prior to today, in antiquity, they had other forms of collecting knowledge that may not have been as robust, and it has weak points and it's vulnerable. And so if you have a body of armor on and you're going to go to war, you have to be aware of your vulnerable spots and protect your vulnerable spots, just like animals do. Like, for example, a lion will protect its neck because they know that's the most vulnerable part of its body or whatever. It's going to protect its neck. That's where we get the saying, protect your neck from, because animals protect their neck or their vulnerable parts of their body because they are aware of it. And so we got to be aware of the vulnerabilities that we have in antiquity and improve upon it. But people don't do it out for the sake of tradition. Just because it's tradition, we're going to keep doing it, not looking to improve upon it because we feel like we're disrespecting a tradition or a culture. And so these conversations need to happen so that we can bring those things to a scientific plane. But then when you say that, then people start talking about white man science or Western epistemology or Western modes of thinking versus African, as if they're different. And that's just not the case. And so I've been sparking these conversations to build up a number of people who want to engage in this. So yeah, I'm interested. That's what I'm saying. So I haven't been online or anything, because that's the kind of conversation I'm looking for. Because I'm not, the noise is a waste of time. People debating the Bible still 20 years, man. I did that in the 90s, so I can't do that. I'm looking for people who want to take what we know about antiquity and upgrade it. And that's it, without all the drama and petty, and because we're not going to get anywhere unless that happens. So so you're saying, I have the conversation. I've been having those conversations a little bit. I try to make light of it. I did a little skit about energy, spiritual energy. I don't know if y'all seen that. A little skit.
Yeah.
The little skit that to explain to people what is spiritual, a spiritual force or whatever. Spirit is wind or breath, and how it was metaphorized into something that is unseen but can cause something to move. That's where we get inherited, and that's the way it's used today. Spirit is an unseen force, which means it has a pushing or pulling effect on objects. And if that's the case, then we should be able to observe it. So, and and people can't, I don't know. So that's and I know, I know that on Masi Warrior Clan's channel and on your channel, I know you all do a lot of presentations about West African cultures and things. So I'm sure that all of you all that do that, from MBK to you, Kofi, to Sean and Ben and everybody else who give those presentations, I'm sure that's a subject that you all will definitely be interested in talking about, because it's one thing to know what the tradition is and what people did versus examining it and seeing its efficacy or usefulness today. Should we leave a plate of food for an ancestor or not? And if so, why? What is the exact effect? What does an ancestor gain from a plate of food? Like, really? And how is it done? Do they eat it? Do they digest it? Do they digest the form of it? Is it the energy of it? Is it the nutrients of it? Is it the vibration? Is it the colors? Is it what? And when they digest it, do they or eat it? Do they digest it and eliminate it? Do they have spiritual bathrooms where they, do they do spiritual number twos and spiritual number ones and do they take in calories, caloric intake? And you know what I'm saying? These are things that people, and when I say that, I said this before on Facebook and stuff, and people are like, oh, that's the white man's mode of thinking. You can't think like that and whatnot. So anyway, that's it.
Hey, Kofi, that's exactly why I asked if we could do a show called Sacred versus Secret and actually break down what it meant psychologically to have sacred knowledge, in the sense of we're going to hold this in high regard. And then where you have the secret as far as understanding the responsibility of protecting that knowledge and how they mesh in between. I think that will go right along with that conversation and analyzing that.
Sacred versus, say it again, sacred versus secret.
Yeah. And just, and kind of explain it, the way I like to tell people when I say that is you have a group of people, I'm not going to pinpoint any of them, of antiquity, and they create a myth that they hold sacred, but the secret knowledge in it is brain surgery. Due to the fact they want to hold that sacred and of high regard and pass it on, they're going to create some kind of way to pass that message. The secret part of it comes in, we can't have everybody running around thinking they brain surgeons. We can't have 5-year-olds, while we're at work, going in the kitchen, grabbing a knife, thinking they about to cut open sister's head and perform neurosurgery. So I think that's a good way to kind of kick that conversation off, to understand how these things formed and then start breaking it down piece by piece, if you kind of get where I'm going.
I know exactly where you're going, and I think Kofi can relate to what I'm about to say. In Freemasonry, you have this explanation of secret versus sacred, and Freemasonry, people think of it as a secret society, but it's actually not a secret society. It's a society of secrets, and it only simply means that you have to come into the fold of the learning environment to gain the knowledge. It's not secret in the sense of people can't have access to it. It's the fact that you must be a part of this to get it. And so sacred and secret, or to secrete this information in this environment, is how they play on those words and things. And so sacred is to set something aside. So you have to set yourself aside to receive that set aside information. And we got to understand that writing was invented very recently in terms of human history, like almost like yesterday, if we wanted to compare time wise. And so ancient cultures had to develop mnemonic devices to pass information or their collection of knowledge from generation to generation. And they invented what we take for granted today called figurative expressions, which includes myths, hyperboles, analogies, metaphors, all those kind of similes, all those things we call figurative expressions. They were invented by people of antiquity in order to pass information from one generation to the next. And so the roadmap, or the key, or the legend to the map is what's most important, that is held secret. So like if I give you a map of like Vasa, you live in California, right? Or
I'm in Oklahoma.
Okay, so you're in Oklahoma. So if I give you a map of Oklahoma, and on the map, you see all these different roads and things, I would have to put a legend in the bottom right corner of the map to give you the actual distance from one point to the next, so that you can see the scale scale of the map to be able to tell how long it's going to take you to get from here to there. And so that legend is kept secret. You may have access to the map, but you don't have access to the legend. And so when that separates and then people pretend they do have access to the legend and just talk about the map, then you get these systems of belief are born. And then you get the Abrahamic methods of passing on information where people are taking the mythos as literal things. And so that's where the breakup between sacred and secret happens. So yeah, so I agree that should be definitely part of the conversation.
See, I'm not a Mason, and I didn't even know people were actually breaking that down. But I think that's something that should be, for our community's sake, I think that's something that should come about instead of these immature conversations that's taking place, because how long are we going to battle each other and not move anywhere, if you get where I'm going? So
right.
I would love to be
by the noise. That's what I meant by noise.
I would love to have a seat in that class if I can. I would love to have a seat in that class.
Well, I'm looking for people to engage in that conversation. So the more people, and I had a few conversations. When I went live, I haven't been live. I have to get my audio interface up to par to go back live. That's why I'm on my phone talking to you all right now. But yeah, so anybody, I'm looking for other people to engage, and I'll join their conversation, or I may spark it off and people join my conversation. Or whatever, and it's it's not going to be a one-time thing. Of course, it just needs to be part of the conversations from here on out.
But why? I mean, and the thing you said a while ago, people taking it literally, and that's the problem I have right there. I mean, I guess we're not studying enough. We're actually doing the same thing we did when we was with the Abrahamic faith. We are listening to other people and parakeeting. I like to say parakeeting. Parakeet always repeating what somebody else is saying. So we are parakeeting what other people are saying without going to verify what these people are actually are saying to be right and exact. And we're taking what we're transitioning, coming out of the Abrahamic faith, and we bringing that same method of thinking and way into this. And when we look at certain things dealing with African culture, we still have that Eurocentric perspective. Well, I ain't gonna say Eurocentric perspective, but most of us, and I'm talking about the Black community, especially here in the South. I'm from Mississippi, so I'm from the Bible Belt. So there's churches everywhere here. So we're taking things literally instead of taking it figurative. And I see a lot of people that deal with African traditions, deal with the way of the ancestors, deal with African traditional religion, or deal with, I don't like, deal with African spirituality, whatever you call it. We're taking a lot of these things literally, and we don't understand how our ancestors actually, how all of it got started, how these stories, if they understood how these what they call in religion, or what they call in spirituality, or the way the ancestor, how it all came about. And I keep talking about this. I mean, I got a whole article. I got three presentations. One on this channel, I think it was, I actually did when I was discussing the confusion and the misunderstanding. Yeah, on this channel. No, it was on Masi. And the other two was on Masi. But if they understood exactly how they came up with mostly their way of life, or the way of thinking, and they formulated these stories, they formulated these myths, they formulated these folklores, they formulated these folk tales. If they understood that, then a lot of us would take a lot of these things literally, or even be offended when people say, saying certain things about certain things. Like, I love African traditional religion, or I love African traditions, and when people say certain things, I understand why they say certain things. I don't get offended by when people say certain things, because I know how it all started, and I don't take those things literally, and I'm not pushing a certain particular tradition that I like, far as a Kumi, because now that I found out I have heritage in Ghana, on my mother's side. And I have, even though I don't know particularly what ethnic group when we talk about Ghana, but I'm just, I know Akumi is a particular African tradition in Ghana. So I particularly study that because that, I have Ghanese in my bloodline as well as Nigerian in my bloodline. So people know I stand with Ifa. So, when people say certain things about Akumi or say particular things about Ifa, Ifa, I don't get, offended by it. And I don't take those things literally. And I don't try to push those ideals, those concepts, those beliefs off on somebody else and saying, this is the way you should go this way. This is the path. You know what I'm saying? Uh, Such and such, this is actually true. This is accurate. So I understand those types of things. So I don't take it offense, but I know a lot of people that deal with the traditions or trying to learn the traditions or learn the culture and the traditions, you know what I'm saying? When you say anything, um, or you question it, then people take offense to it. You know what I'm saying? And that's because I feel like they don't know. Even some of the people that's in the traditions that don't know that may feel offended or may try to attack a person because they are bringing up certain types of questions, or you're bringing up types of the same types of questions that you would bring up if it was uh, the Abrahamic faith, or whether it was not even the Abrahamic faith, whether it was Buddhism, because we talk about Buddhism a lot. We talk about Hindu a lot. Me and Sean talk about it a lot because we talk about the mixing and matching with the third eye and the chakras, the yogas, the stones, the crystal, wearing the crystals, and so forth. So, but like I said, I don't take it offense. I don't take offense to it, and I think we need to unpack some of this stuff. Some of these things need to be brung up. Some of these things need to be revamped, what I'm saying, and revitalized, and so forth, modernized, what I'm saying, up to date and so forth, or even creating our own way of life now, a new way of life.
Yeah. Yeah. So yep. So I'm looking forward to that. But that's it. And just some of the things that I'm seeing when I do try to kind of bring this up, just kind of set the appetizers on the table, just the kind of commentary I get back. I know there's a big thing with people saying that you need to be an initiate in one of these systems to be able to talk about it, which is definitely a plus, and it's a true statement to make. But it should not be misconstrued for its accuracy or efficacy. And the reason why I say that is because you and I right now, we can call up a Abrahamic practitioner who calls themselves a Christian, and they are a full-fledged Abrahamic practitioner or Christian practitioner and been so all their life. And we can still question them about their practice, about things that absolutely makes no sense. And they can give us answers or respond to things that still makes no sense, and that we know that's just not true. So the fact that people are an initiate or in a system does not speak to the accuracy or efficacy of that system. So I always try to remind people of that. But yes, it is good to deal with it from a standpoint of being knowledgeable about it from the inside, or if you are a practitioner, yes, but that doesn't translate over into just because you're a practitioner that what comes out your mouth is correct, and that needs to be understood. And even talking to an African, whatever that is, so whatever a person who lives on the continent of Africa, because I live in America all my life. If somebody comes here and does the same thing with me about American, well, you got to talk to an American. Well, just because I'm an American don't mean I'm right about everything. That's American. I could be dead wrong about something. Just because I'm American doesn't mean anything. You see what I'm saying? So we gotta. That's what I mean by being objective and really having a mature conversation. Because any conversation I'm engaged in is going to get down to stuff like that, and people just gotta be ready for that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not hearing name dropping and all that kind of stuff. It matters nothing to a real scientist. And we got to understand that we are scientists. It's not a white thing.
Yeah.
So anyway, but yeah, that was a good presentation, man. So I appreciate. I saw the link in the inbox, and
Yeah.
on my phone.
Appreciate it. Yeah, we finna end the show. Vasa wanted me to throw it up, and I know Vasa. I didn't have time to change it.
You
You
don't
know,
have to.
I had already spread it out. I know you actually gave me the actual cover to the presentation, and I'll show it too here. But I go back and show it. But we
Yeah.
did. These are some of the upcoming things on Kofi Paisa TV. Um, I don't know when Satep, I'm not Satep, but Sutek. Sutek is on here and Voss on here. The next one, I hopefully, is this Arab racism thoughts of African in Meadville time. This is by one of the Kofi Paisa TV affiliate and family members. That is Sutek. Maybe he'll have that ready for us next Sunday. And Brother Vasa had one on the Cimarroons. I'll actually show the cover to his thing in a minute. I actually put the slide up here. I wasn't paying attention because that was the only thing that he had sent me at the time. So I put that up there about the Cimarroons, which also is going to be an interesting presentation. So maybe that'll be the follow-up after Sutek presentation on the channel, and you can go back and look at the presentation that Sean did on Kemet when we talk about the word Christ in Kemet that he did last week. For those that may missed it, go back and check that presentation out that Any Harret Sean Calfunny did on Kofi Paisa TV, which was a nice presentation, very educational presentation as well. So go back and check that out in the archives. And I have up here Bumutu, what is human beings according to some African traditions. That will be on Masi and not on Kofi Paisa. We'll go into, we'll look in the minds of different ethnic groups in Africa, particularly in West Africa, South Africa, and Central Africa, to be specific on what is a human being according to their traditions, and it is totally different than the Eurocentric perspective that we have here of someone being a human being, or we calling someone a person. That's going to be a very interesting presentation. That'll be coming soon. I'm over halfway done with it, but once Ben get through it, his thing, we had him going up for 3 weeks. So if you missed the interview with one of his Baba Luau's that we did today on the Masi, go back to the archive and check on that. If you missed the presentation that he did, where he was discussing what to look for in uh, traditional traditions in Ifa, the traditions in Ifa are what to look for with the traditionalists, or what to look for if you see the mixing where we talk about the leukemia, Shango Baptist. We know that a lot of things has Catholicism has been merged in some of those systems or whatever. So check that presentation out. I forgot the name of the presentation, but he did that last week, which was a powerful presentation. Please go back and check that out in the archive. He'll be back again with another one with his Baba Luau next week on the Masi, and then I think Sean may be up, and then I'll follow after him. But be on the lookout for that as well as those two presentations on Kofi Paisa TV, and I may be cooking on something else. I had the idea of coming back and doing something. I don't forgot what the name of it was. But be on the lookout for it. Also, please go and subscribe to Kofi Paisa TV if you hadn't subscribed. It is a channel that takes a black man, black woman, and black child, Eurocentric mind, and Africanize it. It is the Black Netflix. Please go and subscribe. Hit the notification bell, and please tell anybody that may be interested in some of the information that we have on the platform, that may appreciate the information, notify them, let them know, and ask them to please subscribe. Hit the like bell. Hit the notification bell as well. Please go and subscribe to Seshima Animeta Nature Group. We are a group of like-minded individuals who are aspiring to be true scribes. We are studying the language, which is called the Ronnie Kimmett and the writing script, which is called The Sesh Meta Nature. Please go and subscribe to that channel. Please check us out on Facebook. It is also Seshuma Ani Meta Nature, as well as the website is also Seshuma Ani Meta Nature. If you want to learn the Seshuma Meta Nature, you can enroll on Seshuma Ani Meta Nature. .com, as well as getting the textbook, the beginner's course of the Seshma Nature by Sabo Wujao, who is also on the panel, as well as the publications, the rebuttal book to Walter Williams had the meta been deciphered, as well as our Senate Emiket penmanship book. If you want to learn how to write the sesh, also subscribe to the Mossy Warrior Clan YouTube channel. Please go and subscribe to that channel. And hit the notification bell. Also notify, like I said, you don't have to. And I'm asking those that may appreciate the information. If you know somebody that may appreciate the information, direct them to that channel. Tell them to subscribe and hit the notification bell so they won't miss out on any upcoming presentations that we may have on any of these three platforms, the Seshuma Anima Nature, as well as Kofi Paisa TV, as well as Mossy Warrior Clan. Also go to our like page on YouTube, the Mossy Warrior Clan like page as well. Please subscribe. Please support. And we'll see y'all next time on these platforms. Before I go, say, well, you got any upcoming classes or anything? Also subscribe to Saber University. You got anything else, Saber, real quick? Some upcoming classes,
Real
upcoming
quick.
publication.
Well, I
real
gotta,
quick.
yeah, real quick. I'm not gonna pull a Kofi now. No, real quick. I had planned to start a new beginners group of a class for Ronnie Kimmett or Session Meta Nature to learn it for September, for beginning of September. So I'm going to advertise today's Sunday, starting tomorrow, advertise and see who is all interested and form the group and then get started. And I'm opening it up to anybody who has been a previous group member who may not have finished for whatever reason, we didn't finish, or, for whatever. And everybody can return. So I'm expecting a nice, large, fruitful class to come about. So just look out for that. As far as publications, I'm still working on the grammar book, Ronnie Kimmett, descriptive grammar for Ronnie Kimmett. And still working on that. And I'll definitely make those announcements when it comes closer to publication. But the way I'm doing it is a little different. So it's going to take some time. That's it.
All right.
Can I reserve a spot in this next class?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
I'm gonna make the announcements on Facebook and stuff. And I guess people can inbox me, email me, contact me, or just sign up, people who are new and everything. But I'll put the details out there.
Okay, because I was just telling Kofi I needed to get in touch with you to let you know. I did appreciate it and wanted you to know I didn't give up as far as studying. I just had a lot going on deaths and numerous other things. But I appreciate it. So, yeah, I'll gladly, if I can get in there, would appreciate that as well.
Yeah, everybody's welcome. Everybody's invited. Male, female, young, old, doesn't matter. So want to get a big class, biggest, big class as we can and move forward. A lot of work to be done. And I'm not playing. So
Yeah, she said, y'all better show up or I'm telling on y'all next time. That's Sister Julanda. But yeah, again, dwAt, you know what I'm saying? Again, we appreciate y'all. Dupe, we appreciate y'all for tuning in and listening to what we got to say. We'll see y'all next time. And on that note, Black African Power. And we out of here, family.
Man in the full knowledge of himself is a superb and supreme creature of creation. When man becomes possessor of the knowledge of himself, he becomes the master of his environment, the captain of his own ship, the director of his own destiny, the accomplisher of his own ends. Man should understand himself because man is full of knowledge, and this knowledge is a gift of nature. When Mother Nature created man, she deprived them of nothing. He was given the faculty of understanding all things around him. This faculty for understanding has not been taken away from him. None of his senses have been taken away from him. So there is no excuse for the black man.
I'm raising my team, red, black, and green, queens and kings, salute, now scream, I should. I should. I'm raising my team, red, black, and green, queens and kings, salute, now scream, I should. I should. I should.